Ducati Corse general manager Luigi Dall'Igna has finally addressed the sharp decline in Francesco Bagnaia's performances during the 2025 MotoGP season, shedding light on a complex mix of technical challenges, misfortune and internal pressure that defined one of the most turbulent years of the Italian rider's career. Bagnaia, the longtime spearhead of Ducati's factory project, endured an uncharacteristically difficult campaign as his grip on the championship slipped away. While expectations were sky-high following his dominance in previous seasons, 2025 became a painful contrast, culminating in the uncomfortable reality of watching his new teammate Marc Marquez secure the world title in his very first year with the Ducati Lenovo Team. According to Dall'Igna, Bagnaia's struggles cannot be explained purely by performance metrics. The Ducati boss emphasized that a series of unfortunate incidents struck at critical moments of the season, preventing the Italian from capitalizing on results that were otherwise within reach. In a championship decided by fine margins, those missed opportunities proved decisive. It must be acknowledged that Pecco was not lucky, Dall'Igna admitted. Especially towards the end of the championship, he was unable to achieve all the results that were realistically possible, even in situations that were not ideal. His words suggest that the final standings do not fully reflect Bagnaia's true level of competitiveness throughout the year. A major talking point within the paddock was Bagnaia's difficulty adapting to the GP25. While Ducati's latest machine represented a clear step forward in overall performance, its characteristics appeared less compatible with Bagnaia's smooth, precision-based riding style than the previous GP24. This technical mismatch forced Pecco into a constant compromise, limiting his confidence on corner entry and race management areas that had previously been his strongest assets. In contrast, Marquez's aggressive and instinctive approach allowed him to extract maximum performance from the GP25 almost immediately. That contrast inevitably intensified internal pressure, as Bagnaia found himself measured not only against the rest of the grid, but directly against one of the most successful riders in MotoGP history operating within the same garage. Beyond the technical and sporting implications, the psychological impact on Bagnaia was impossible to ignore. His visible frustration, occasionally spilling over into moments of anger, reflected a rider acutely aware that circumstances had turned against him. For a champion accustomed to controlling his destiny, the sense of powerlessness proved particularly difficult to digest. Dall'Igna was clear, however, that Ducati does not view Bagnaia's 2025 season as a failure in isolation. Without a doubt, things could have gone differently, he explained, but when bad luck intervenes, everything becomes far more difficult, both for the rider and the team. It was a rare public acknowledgement from Ducati that fate, not just form, played a role in shaping the outcome. Looking ahead, Ducati's challenge will be restoring Bagnaia's confidence while refining the technical package to better suit his strengths. With his talent and work ethic beyond question, the Italian remains a central pillar of Ducati's long-term vision. The lessons of 2025 may yet prove crucial in forging a stronger, more adaptable Bagnaia for future title fights. Ultimately, MotoGP 2025 served as a brutal reminder that even the most dominant riders are vulnerable when technical evolution, luck, and internal rivalry collide. For Francesco Bagnaia, the season may have been painful, but it could also become the defining chapter that shapes his next resurgence at the very top of the sport. Building on that narrative, the fallout from Bagnaia's 2025 season has inevitably triggered wider discussion inside the Ducati camp about development philosophy. Ducati's relentless pursuit of innovation has been a cornerstone of its recent success, yet the GP25 season highlighted the risk of rapid evolution outpacing rider adaptation. In Bagnaia's case, the balance between progress and continuity appeared to tilt unfavorably, exposing how even marginal changes can disrupt a rider who thrives on stability and precision. There is also a strategic dimension to consider. Ducati entered 2025 with two riders at vastly different stages of their careers. and with contrasting riding identities. While this pairing promised maximum data and competitive depth, it also created an internal benchmark that intensified scrutiny on every result. Bagnaia was no longer simply defending his status against rival manufacturers, but fighting a daily comparison within his own team, a scenario that can quietly erode confidence over a long season. From a championship perspective, Bagnaia's inability to consistently convert strong qualifying pace into race results proved costly. Several weekends followed a familiar pattern, promising starts, solid early laps, and then a gradual drop-off as tyre behaviour or front-end feedback failed to align with his expectations. Over a full campaign, those small losses accumulated into a points deficit that became impossible to recover, regardless of flashes of brilliance. Equally significant was the changing competitive landscape of MotoGP itself. With multiple manufacturers closing the gap and races increasingly decided by tenths rather than seconds, Bagnaia found himself operating in a far less forgiving environment than in previous title-winning years. In such conditions, even minor misfortune, a yellow flag at the wrong moment, or an untimely technical issue carried disproportionate consequences. Behind the scenes, sources suggest that Ducati engineers and Bagnaia worked tirelessly to tailor the GP25 to his needs, experimenting with chassis configurations and aerodynamic options deep into the season. However, constant adjustment can be a double-edged sword, sometimes preventing a rider from settling into a clear reference point. The search for solutions, while necessary, may have inadvertently prolonged his adaptation phase. Another layer to the story is Bagnaia's leadership role within the team. As a multiple world champion, expectations extend beyond raw speed to include guiding development and setting direction. The arrival of a high-profile teammate inevitably altered that dynamic, forcing Bagnaia to reassert his influence while simultaneously battling on-track difficulties, a demanding task even for the most experienced riders. Despite the frustrations of 2025, few in the paddock doubt Bagnaia's capacity to respond. History shows that elite champions often emerge stronger after adversity, armed with deeper self-awareness and renewed motivation. The setbacks of this season may well sharpen his focus, pushing him to refine aspects of his riding and mental approach that had previously gone unchallenged. As Ducati reflects on a year of mixed emotions, triumph through Marquez, disappointment through Bagnaia, the key takeaway is balance. Sustaining dominance requires not only the fastest machine, but also an environment where every rider can perform at their peak. For Francesco Bagnaia, the lessons learned in 2025 could become the foundation for a more resilient and complete title challenge in the seasons to come.